4 hours and 5 minutes, NASA will turn the crew over to the SpaceX team, and once that happens, there are a series of key milestones to be checked off.
Was saying that they think they started a new tradition for these reused boosters for crew.
The umbilicals for, looks like they're getting mock-up of the Crew Dragon capsule
using 3D printing technology, so that's a really exciting.
Get it ready to go. Before that, in the Apollo days, that's where
we located it. Like I said, yeah, this is an integral part of
last view of him. But that's Aki Hoshide having a laugh with some of the suit technicians. This
is the LD on countdown 1 with a T-4 hour situational awareness briefing. We're currently counting down to a T0 of.
That person is there to help you learn about the suit and fix any problems you have. And I have fond memories of my suit tech back when I was suiting up for the shuttle. Her name was Tone. Basically launching a vehicle to chase the space station, and it has much to do with that. All right, next question. How long does straight down towards where the camera is pointing? Any moment now. Here they come. Commander Shane Kimbrough, pilot Megan MacArthur in the front, Megan blowing kisses. Thomas and Aki ready for their ride to the space station. And inside the elevator there is a poster you can see in the background. It has the signatures of folks who have worked on this mission.
So this is the first of 2 elevator rides that these guys will be partaking in today. The second, of course, being the elevator ride to test subject. But we did do full mock-up.
And here they come, the Crew 2 astronauts taking their first steps outside before their journey to space.
Yay!
I love this moment. They're now going to have the opportunity to wave goodbye from a safe distance. The distance is normal protocol for spaceflight. This is not a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. This would be in place even if we didn't have that situation going on.
And we see those Tesla doors starting to close now.
Like I mentioned before, the equipment is already in the Tesla. The astronauts are plugged into that small blue box, and they're getting that cool air flowing through their suits once again. And the AC is turned up on high in those Teslas to make sure everybody's comfy.
We've seen some people go around to the backside of the cars. This is a
ONC departure on schedule.
All right, so we just heard that announcement that the crew has departed the operations and checkout building on schedule. They are now on their way to Launch Complex 39A, scheduled to lift off at 5:49 a.m. Eastern Time this morning. It will be and this will be her first trip
to the International Space Station.
My name is Megan MacArthur. I'm the pilot for NASA's SpaceX Crew 2 mission to the International Space Station.
And as they are approaching the base of the pad, we have some more messages from those with some personal connections to this crew.
Godspeed, and we'll see you.
Making their way up behind them are ESA astronaut Thomas Pesquet and JAXA astronaut Akipushi Day, and we'll be seeing them make their way up there. They are coming up the steps, and they'll be stopping to use the phone. Shane and Megan already had the opportunity to do that. That phone is up where you see the person in the black suit. That looks like Jessica Meir, number 38, part of the closeout team at the pad. And this is a shot inside the white room. Astronaut Shane Kimbrough to the left of your screen, and to the right you can see the side hatch of the Crew Dragon Endeavour is open in preparation for the next milestone, which will be crew ingress in just a few minutes. If you're just joining us, you're watching live coverage of NASA's SpaceX mission known as Crew 2. Good morning and welcome to Kennedy Space Center in Florida. I'm Marie Lewis with NASA Communications.
Right hatch, but it is the right seat. He and Aki both have the same role as mission specialists. They're just far enough away where they don't necessarily have access to that display panel that Kimbrough and MacArthur will use as soon as the seats rotate.
Mission Specialist 2 from the capsule, come check.
Bienvenue Dragon, Thomas, got you loud.
And the umbilicals checked out, and then of course there'll be the suit leak check.
We've got a cool view looking from outside of the Dragon capsule in through the hatchway. And but this is their job at the moment, right? They're actually
SpaceX Endeavour, we're in section 1.3, ready for com checks.
SpaceX copies, stand by for umbilical comm check.
An incredible view from one of the handheld cameras of the suit technician peering in through the side hatch. The side hatch is open now and will remain closed throughout the duration of the mission until Dragon splashes down. We're standing by for some of the further communication checks.
SpaceX comm check.
Cupola. In addition, he will set up computers and control panels needed for approach monitoring and hatch operations and pre-position emergency equipment. He will also work with Soichi Noguchi to get the extra station crew quarters ready for the new residents. Back here in Houston, our rotating flight director
Crew aboard the International Space Station is also watching all of this unfold live. Of course, they were sitting in these seats at the pad in their Crew Dragon Resilience that's currently docked to the International Space Station. So that crew is watching the crew on the pad today and getting ready to welcome them aboard.
And with new research still to be delivered on upcoming cargo flights, including another SpaceX Dragon scheduled right now in June, that's the latest from here in Mission Control. I'll toss it over to Jasmine now, where we will learn more about some of the exciting science on the horizon for Crew 2. Jasmine?
Crew access arm. Well, the crew's been busy this early morning. We've got all 4 of the astronauts are in the capsule. The hatch is closed. The comm checks with the SpaceX launch team are complete, both with the Dragon flight crew as well as the Falcon 9 launch crew. We've also done a leak check, and that confirmed the hatch.
It's basically the path that the capsule takes to get to the station, and each milestone of that is a engine firing that takes it closer to the station, either in altitude.
Are set on putting the first woman and the first person of color on the moon as part of the Artemis mission, and the experiments that the astronauts do on the space station
Russian counterparts to ensure that both methods of controlling the station's attitude are fully functional. This includes the large U.S. gyroscope.
And operators performed a series of checkouts of the Dragon flight systems, and the spacecraft is also currently go for launch. The 4 astronauts are currently inside Dragon, and the hatch is closed. The SpaceX closeout team has left the pad, and they'll be outside of the blast danger area very shortly. Now, before we can start loading propellant on the Falcon,
you see a live view of the crew access arm retracting away from Crew Dragon in preparation for launch. The countdown clock continues to tick, and we're now at T-minus 42 minutes and 33 seconds. We're standing by for the completion of the crew access retraction. This is one of the last major visual milestones that we'll see in preparation for liftoff. Shortly thereafter, we should hear the call out that the launch escape system is armed, and from there, we'll hear that Falcon 9 prop load has started, which is one of my favorite milestones of the launch countdown.
We just saw a beautiful shot from inside the White Room as the crew arm was moving away. There it is. The capsule, you can just barely see it in the corner now, that opening where that is where the side hatch was, where the astronauts ingress Dragon, and now you can see it continuing to swing away from the Falcon 9 rocket and Crew Dragon Endeavour in preparation for launch. That is a really cool angle. And Tracy, as we're watching the crew arm still retracting here, we are about to have the International Space Station fly over us, right?
We are, yes, here at KSC, Kennedy Space Center. Looks like in another minute to the southeast, traveling across east-northeast. The station should be visible overhead.
Crew access arm retraction.
Now we just heard confirmation that the crew access arm is done retracting.
Up next, we'll expect to hear a call to arm the launch escape system.
Dragon SpaceX, you are go for Section 7. Close visors.
So they signed their initials, their names into the set there in the background. So I've said before, I love the human spaceflight traditions that we have, and I think this is
SpaceX headquarters in Hawthorne for an operations update. John?
Well, we are counting down those final minutes, and everything's still looking good for Falcon 9 and Dragon for an on-time launch just under 33 minutes from now. Falcon 9 did begin propeller loading just a couple of minutes ago. Colored flame. Now once we've got the flame going, we add the kerosene fuel into the Merlin chamber, and the engine ramps up to full power. You might see the green flash just as the second stage engine ignites, followed.
Are ready for launch. You're looking at a live view of our teams at the Cape as they prepare for liftoff. As we wait for the launch clock to hit 0, we wanted to give you an overview of what the ascent portion of the mission will look like.
Once we hit T0 and a successful launch occurs, we will watch Falcon 9 and Dragon lift off from historic launch pad 39A and make their ascent.
At about 50 seconds into the flight, Falcon 9 engines will throttle up to help pass through the period of maximum dynamic pressure on the rocket, or what we typically
is on console now, leading flight controllers in Houston for launch, and Flight Director Scott Stover will lead teams for docking tomorrow. Just a reminder that a launch today will take about 23.5 hours to get to station, with a docking to the Node 2 forward port scheduled tomorrow at 4:10 a.m. Central. Once Dragon is docked to the station, the team here in Houston,
and that means the Crew Dragon is prepared to launch itself away from the Falcon 9 rocket in case of an emergency on the pad or after liftoff. So far, operations look and sound as it aged. And we have a really special treat if we could take a view of Bob Behnken's spacesuit. We have that in studio. That is the actual space
on my chest, but I imagine that one would be that heavy. That the feeling that you have in your chest is pretty significant.
All right, some celebratory handshakes from inside the Crew Dragon. That was the voice of the Cord, Chad Healy, here in Mission Control Hawthorne. Next series of events, John, will be the engine chill. Everything's looking good so far.
Yeah, it is. We're actually watching fuel trim valves on the Merlin 1B engines, going through some checkouts right now. As you said, a team on
ground. And from there, the Falcon 9 propellant tanks will pressurize for strong back retract. That'll be another visual milestone. The clamps just liquid oxygen continues to flow through on the first and second stages.
Watching the sequence, a nice view from up on top of the fixed service structure. The arms are opening. We're beginning to recline away from the Falcon 9. We'll move the strong back 2 degrees away from the Falcon 9. That'll get it ready for liftoff. And at T0, when the flight computer commands liftoff, the hydraulics on the strong back will pull it to a position 45 degrees away from the Falcon 9, giving it the clearance for launch. So right now, the strong back is moving away. Everything proceeding nominally.
It's great to hear, John. We're also...
T-minus 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Mission and liftoff. Godspeed, Endeavour and Crew 2.
Copy 1 Alpha.
Endeavour launches once again. 4 astronauts from 3 countries on Crew 2, now making their way to the one and only International Space Station. The vehicle is pitching downrange. 9 Merlin engines on the first stage, providing 1.7 million pounds of thrust. Hearing good calls on the first stage performance so far.
Seconds into the second rotational crew mission on board Dragon and Falcon 9. Falcon 9 will be throttling down the 9 Merlin engines shortly here in preparation for maximum dynamic pressure. And there's that call out for the throttle down. Maximum dynamic pressure, max Q, is the largest structural load that the vehicle sees throughout ascent. So throttling down does help us pass. Throwing down helps us pass through this period, which should be coming here shortly.
Max Q.
There's that call out that we have just passed through max Q.
Stage 1 throttle up.
And
1 Bravo.
Copy 1 Bravo.
Alright, 1 Bravo is the second abort mode on the first stage. The first stage continues to fire for 2 minutes, 35 seconds. 1.5 minutes into today's flight. Falcon 9 now traveling at 1,500 miles an hour.
Vac engine chill started.
Alright, the engine chill for the second stage single Merlin engine has started. About 30 more seconds of the first stage firing to bring our 4 astronauts into orbit.
Now from here, coming up in about 20-some seconds, we're going to have 3 major milestones. We'll have shutdown of the 9 Merlin engines. We're beginning to throttle them down. We will then get stage separation,
throttle down.
And then we will get ignition of the second stage engine to propel Dragon and the Falcon 9 second stage into orbit.
Two Alpha.
Copy 2 Alpha. Acquisition signal right.
And we have ignition of the second stage. You see the green flash of that T-TEB fluid. The expansion nozzle on the second stage Merlin vacuum glowing that bright red that we like to see. Good performance on the second stage so far.
And on the left side of your screen, we saw the exhaust of the second stage engine streaming past the first stage as the grid fins are coming out. We also briefly had a view of the lights of Central Florida in the background. Currently, the first stage is continuing to coast up to apogee. It's unpowered. It'll reach a peak height and then begin to descend back down toward the Earth's atmosphere, where it will light 3 engines to slow down in preparation for what will be a landing burn on the drone ship in the Atlantic Ocean. You can see the grid fins are deployed right now. The first stage,
Dragon,
pulsing.
SpaceX, trajectory nominal.
We're pulsing the thrusters.
Copy, nominal trajectory.
We hear a call out from the crew, nominal trajectory. So we're beginning to move the first stage into position so it can do the entry burn.
Minutes 15 seconds into today's flight. Second stage propelling our 4 astronauts up the eastern seaboard. We'll continue to fire. It's a 6-minute burn to deliver the astronauts into orbit. We'll wait for a cue for a good orbital insertion after that. Meanwhile, we will be hearing check-ins on the vehicle's trajectory and performance, as well as check-ins with some of the ground stations as it passes over throughout the 6 minutes of the second stage firing.
Dragon, SpaceX, trajectory nominal.
Copy, nominal trajectory. Shannon.
Copy, Shannon.
Shannon called out at the back end of stage 2. A few seconds until cutoff.
Impact shutdown. Dragon, SpaceX, launch escape system disarmed.
Launch escape system disarmed. Copy.
Dragon, SpaceX, nominal orbit insertion.
Copy, nominal orbital insertion.
Right, the Falcon 9 second stage has done its job, delivering our 4 crew into orbit.
You hear the applause here in Hawthorne. We're waiting to get a video signal back from the drone ship. Of course, I still love you. And the view from the onboard camera we saw just briefly. It looks like first stage on the drone ship. Getting views of the Dragon trunk. So the first stage is on the drone ship, successfully landed. And more importantly, second stage is in a nominal orbit with the Dragon spacecraft getting ready for some important events coming up, Gary.
That's right, about 2 more minutes. The Dragon and the second stage of the Falcon 9 will be in a coast phase. It'll take that long until the spacecraft separates from the Falcon 9. Of course, both now in a nominal orbit. It's great to see some of the views of the Earth as it passes by over the North Atlantic Ocean. Shots of the crew in orbit, looking for that 0G indicator. Can't seem to see it in this shot, but we have a minute to go up until we have spacecraft separation. Dragon traveling at nearly 17,000 miles per hour at an altitude of 124 miles. Again, the 4-person crew of Endeavour is in orbit right now. Less than 30 seconds until we have spacecraft separation. Seconds to spacecraft separation. We should hear words from the core here in Mission Control Hawthorne once we have successful separation.
know your rocket is home safe. Thanks for flying our first flight-proven crewed Falcon 9. See you airside, Crew 2.
Thank you very much. We're great. It's glad to be back in space for all of us, and we'll send our regards to Crew 1 when we get there. Thanks.
Absolutely stunning views from both inside the cabin, seeing the excitement of our 4-person crew inside Endeavour, and watching Endeavour drift away from the camera on the second stage as the Earth passes by on an orbital sunrise.
SpaceX Endeavour.
And Endeavour, you cut out a little bit there. If the question was if you're go to open visors, you are go to open visors at this time.
Copy and work, thanks.
All right, 13 and a half minutes past liftoff. The crew is in orbit, traveling at nearly 17,000 miles an hour.
Well, Gary, I don't know about you, but that was a great countdown. Everything sounded great. Right on time, actually a little ahead of time.
Multi-humidifier activation and service section Draco checkouts.
Got a good orbit out of Falcon 9. The first stage landed on the drone chip. And we're in the sunlight over the Atlantic Ocean with the Dragon spacecraft. All in all, a great day.
I think everybody's jealous of the crew in orbit right now, John. These views, even just from the cameras, are absolutely stunning. It was great to see our crew members get into orbit. They already performed successful checkouts of the 12 service section Dracos around Dragon. Next milestone will be the deployment of the nose cone. That'll be about a 5-minute process, but that'll expose the forward bulkhead Dracos and prepare them for checkout. There's a phase burn. There's 5 major burns that are needed to get the Crew Dragon up to rendezvous with the International Space Station over the next 23 hours. And so that first phase burn is coming up real soon in about 35 minutes, actually less than 35 minutes. Looking at that expansion nozzle, did its work beautifully to deliver the 4 crew into orbit. Dragon over the North Atlantic Ocean.
And Gary, this is John. I think I heard a call out on one Dragon Nets that the first set of nose cone hooks is open. So it sounds like that sequence is going well.
Very good.
Suit technicians and the closeout team. And that looked, yeah, that's our commander, Shane Kimbrough.
There's Megan MacArthur getting help into her gloves in her spacesuit. And mission specialist Thomas Pesquet will be making his 2nd trip to space. But that's Aki Oshide having a laugh with some of the suit technicians. There's Shane Kimbrough, pilot Megan MacArthur in the front. Megan blowing kisses. Thomas and Aki ready for their ride to the space station. And here they come, the Crew 2 astronauts taking their first steps outside before their journey to space.
I love this moment. They're now going to have the opportunity to wave goodbye from a safe distance. And it looks like Bob Mencken is there with the son of he and Megan MacArthur.
ONC departure on schedule.
All right, so we just heard that announcement that the crew has departed the operations and checkout building on schedule. And we can see the astronauts inside the crew access arm. Commander Shane Kimbrough, here he is climbing inside Crew Dragon Endeavour. We call this process ingress.
We now see suit technicians will help the crew members get buckled in. As you can see, the side hatch has just been closed.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Mission and liftoff. Godspeed, Endeavour and Crew 2.
Copy, 1 Alpha.
Endeavour launches once again. 4 astronauts from 3 countries on Crew 2 and making their way to the one and only International Space Station. The vehicle is pitching downrange 9